Hey, Eastern Oregon, welcome to EOA Live on this Tuesday morning, March 16th. Man, how are you?
I'm going. I was here early today. I'm sure you heard the dinger.
I know. It's funny because we got the text message and Tanya's like, "Who's at the studio?" It's 7:00. Yeah, it's like.
Hey, yeah, I don't know. I was up. That new opening, BC, it makes me want to like suck down some chili dogs outside the Tasty Freeze.
Is that a good or bad?
It just reminds me like John Cougar Mellencamp. It's like Americana to its finest. Then he goes from like hillbilly twanger to like, let's go to John Cougar Mellencamp. Why not?
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, Bennett Welch is our primary editor here and puts stuff together behind the scene, and you know, bless his heart, he'll pick music and then we'll reject it or not. But this time he did. I mean, he did preview it for me. Yeah,
he did good. Yeah, Bennett's getting talked about a lot lately. I talked about him on my show last night too. I mean, because I had on a EOU cross country and track commit. Actually, our guest son, Christian Mendoza, he committed to EOU. The legendary Ben Welch.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we should have Ben on sometime.
I told him he has. Bit. You talking about Bit? Maybe we have them both on at the same time and just kind of.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah,
that'd be all right.
We could get Father Ben to tell stories about Benny.
Oh, I guarantee you, every other story is going to be about him losing something.
Oh,
the dude loses his keys more often than anybody I've ever met.
Not his races, though. He does very well at running.
Yeah, no, he just can't remember his. We need to get him a hiding. That's what I'm going to get him for Christmas. I'm going to get him a couple of those little magnetic key holders, so he doesn't call me at 6:00 at night. And are you at the studio? I'm like, why, Bennett? Well, I got to get in. I'm like, you got a key? Well, no. Now other people have a key.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, if you're out there listening, comment. Let us know you're around. We'd love to talk to you, find out how you're doing.
You know what? We get this show's getting a lot of traction. It's crazy. We still don't have like a ton of live viewers, and I know why. It's just because it's at 8:00 in the morning. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Doddsy and I've had lots of conversation about when that time would be. Yeah, he says, "Oh yeah, 10 a.m." And I said, "Yeah, when everyone's working, time. We're gonna have more live viewers then."
I think 8's good. 8's working out good. It's fine.
Well, yeah, you're acclimating.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
it's called adapting and overcoming.
Yeah. So, real quick, all of our stuff, if you have not been following, all of our stuff is landing on Spotify or, I mean, all of the other networks and stuff. And it's cool. This morning when I was getting ready, I listened to last week's news roundup. Sometimes I don't get a chance to catch up on everything. So
yeah, we're expanding. That's for sure.
Yep.
There's a lot of things coming.
It's very cool. So, well, hey, let's man, look at this.
A little bit foggy out there, but it is cold this morning.
It is chilly.
I left the window in the bathroom cracked, and I didn't even want to get in the shower because it was so cold. And then you don't want to get out. That's the problem. Like you get in, you bear the cold, get in, and then you're like, you got to face that monster again.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, let's look at Gabe's weather here.
Bam! It's going to warm up all the way almost to 50 today. Wow. Just fog. It doesn't look like any snow. Possible flurries in the morning.
So maybe this stuff is going to burn off then, huh?
It'll be all right because according to him, it's going to be partly sunny around 3:00.
Huh. All right. This is Tuesday, 16th, and then tomorrow, the 17th.
It's just about the same, except for it's going to be quite a bit warmer. Look at that, up to 55.
Yeah,
partly sunny. But that's called teaser weather in this valley. We have 18 different seasons, so unless there's 7 days in a row of sun, we're not to spring yet.
Well, and so funny yesterday. I mean, it was so gorgeous on Sunday. I mean, I almost started the lawnmower and picked up the crap that was on the lawn, and so then it was so weird yesterday morning for it to be snowing. It's like,
hey, we need to change the time on the weather cam. It didn't automatically update.
It didn't.
Yeah, we jumped ahead. You know what's even crazier? My body still thinks it's 7 right now. So for me to be here early, a couple days after the clocks get jumped forward, there's something wrong going on. I might need to get checked out.
I think you do need to get checked out.
Probably. I'm getting checked out on Wednesday, BC. I start that diet thing with Metrum, and that's kind of exciting. Well,
now you're that's just kind of the first checkout. You're right. Are you starting like the first of the month, or what are you?
I don't know. I'm along for the ride, man.
Okay.
I'm along for the ride.
All right. Well, cool. Well, we'll be talking more about that. So, well, hey, so we have a new little feature here on AM. Our news guy, Alex McHaddad. Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Oh boy, it's already time. Nice I'm headset. Good. How about you?
Where'd you get you got the headset on?
I'm cool.
Can you hear good in there?
Oh yeah, it's really nice.
Nice.
I get to hear you loud and clear whenever I want, Doddsy.
Yeah, but
you can probably hear me through the wall.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like I can hear you in my office, for crying out loud.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, I took notes from Johnny Ballgame, man.
We could put a microphone in the hallway, and it would. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Alex, tell us what's going on locally in stories.
All righty, let me pull that up for you.
So I think I add that here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Okay, well, Union County had its several counties in Eastern Oregon had some changes in status to their county risk level for COVID starting last Friday. Union County was able to stay in moderate risk, but Baker County had to move up to moderate risk. They were in low, just like Wallowa. Wallowa was able to stay there, so they're very happy, I'm sure. Pendleton is in moderate risk, and things don't look too good in the neighboring county. Grant and Morrow are able to stay in low risk, so very happy for them.
Good deal.
What's the red? Extreme risk?
Extreme risk, yeah.
We only have 2 counties in extreme risk in Oregon right now?
Yeah, it looks like everybody's following the guidelines and people are staying safe, so it's just Douglas and Coos County that are in red. So,
well, either that or people aren't getting tested or everybody's had it and they're just, it's one of those.
That's well, so we moved from extreme to moderate, right?
Yeah.
So
we didn't move at all. We stayed. No,
well,
we stayed moderate.
Yeah, right. Not this most recent changeover, but the last one. We were in extreme, and then we went to moderate. So
let's hope we stay here because I don't want to see small businesses shut down again.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's not going to be good.
All right, take us on, Alex.
All right. So, the City of La Grande has resumed parking enforcement downtown. I know that's really sad for a lot of people.
No, yeah.
So, and some people might not have even known that they weren't doing parking tickets, and now they are again. So,
right. That's the worst news of all, knowing that you could have parked for longer for the last 6 months, and then you get here and you're like, wait, I could have been doing this the whole time? Yeah.
Yeah. Tough. Something I did learn that's kind of interesting is anyone who has a handicap placard, they can park downtown for as long as they want, and they don't have to comply with that 2-hour limit of having to move their car.
Well, how do you get one of those? Like,
you got to be handicapped.
I got a good parking spot.
Yeah,
you get here at 7:00. You got a good parking. There's only like 3 people drinking coffee here at 7:00.
Yeah, but these are but the city is talking about the street parking.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all 3 people that care about that probably heard it.
Okay, take us on, Alex.
All right. Lastly, Union County Commissioners are going to have one of their bi-monthly meetings tomorrow. They meet twice a month, so 9 a.m. sharp. You go to the county's website. There's a link for Zoom or phone participation. One of the big things on the agenda is hopefully they're going to be appointing a new county treasurer. That's one of several elected officials in the county government. The most recent treasurer, Donna Marshall, was reelected last fall, but had planned to retire in February, and she did. So now they're voting to appoint her replacer this week.
So wait, we're having a commissioner on the day after that, right?
We're having Paul.
Or is that next week?
Yeah, Paul will be on next Thursday.
Oh, good. It'll be good to pick his brain coming right off of a meeting. That's good.
Yeah, he'll have lots of interesting things to tell you, I'm sure. He's got his own item on the agenda too. So
good.
All right. Anything else, or is that it?
Those are the coolest things happening in Union County right now.
Thanks, Alex.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we need to get you an earpiece so you don't look like such a goofball. You look like you're about to play some like World of Warcraft.
What I can't figure is like yeah, he shows up with a tie and it's like what?
I barely put a collared shirt on this morning, Alex.
What are you talking about? You barely put a shirt on. All right. Well, hey, thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. Look forward to the stuff that you bring to us in the future.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Let's roll.
All righty. All right.
Oh, BC, you're getting better though. You're getting better.
Yeah. Those of you that don't know, so normally when you have shows like this, you have someone else doing the switching and choosing the sources and all that business, and it's just Kyle and I. We're just kind of hacking through it. So.
Yep. That makes it even more genuine and fun though.
Yeah, it does. Well, hey, so we
Dana,
have.
are you back from the coast, by the way? Answer in the comments.
So, hey, we have George Mendoza with us today. George is the LeGrande School District Superintendent. And hey, wait, there, center yourself in there we go. Thank you.
There you go. Unmute your mic too.
And there we are. So he's here with us to endure our grilling, whatever that is.
No, it's going to be nice.
How you doing, George?
I'm doing well, Brent. How are you?
I'm doing good. So so let's start with tell us where you were born, where's home, and then how did you get to LeGrande?
Long story, but I grew up in the Yakima Valley of Washington. So I grew up in Granger, Wapato, Sunnyside, Prosser. I was born in Mexico. My family basically came out from Mexico without proper authorization when I was young, and we moved into California by the time that I was 2 years old. My family had always told us that we were born in Madera, California. So when I was a kid, I grew up thinking that I was born in Madera, California. And then we moved up to Granger, Washington, farm worker family. So everything that we did was migrant farm worker type of work. And somewhere by the time I was 8 years old, 9 years old, my father was deported. This is probably a lot deeper than you thought it would go.
No, this is great though. Yeah. Thank you.
So when he was deported, he wound up telling us, hey guys, you weren't born in Mexico, and you weren't born in Madera, California. You were born in Mexico. We're here without papers, and that's a problem. And so at that time, it was around 1984. It was the Farm Worker Amnesty Act was coming into play, and luckily there was a farmer in Granger, Washington, who took us in. And we got to do all the paperwork that was necessary to get amnesty from the American Migrant Farm Worker Act that took place. And so through that, we became naturalized citizens over a 20-year period. First, you go through the process and you become a resident alien. And after becoming a resident alien for at least 10 years, you have to go through another process to become a citizen. And then in that time period, I became a citizen. So it's a long story, but I grew up, born in Mexico, early in California, grew up in the farm fields of Granger, Wapato, Sunnyside, and Prosser, and then graduated. Was one of those kids that liked sports but didn't really get a chance to play sports when I was young because we were pretty much working in the fields. And by the time I was in 7th grade, I would be begging my father to let me play sports. And he didn't really like that idea because he wanted me working. And at the time, my parents got divorced, and he married an Anglo woman, a beautiful, wonderful lady, who said that I should be able to play sports. And because of her influence, my dad let me start to play sports begrudgingly, and and I was a good athlete. I was just a little bit faster, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, and could jump higher or do different things. And coaches wound up really like taking an interest in me and helping me out and kind of guiding me. And so it got me to finish up high school and have more direction. And I knew by the time I finished high school that I wanted to be a teacher. And I was a good enough athlete that I got recruited by a lot of locations, a lot of schools to play football. And in the end, I wound up going to Eastern Oregon, and had a good career, met my wife, a good athletic career, met my wife, and my wife's from Vail, Oregon. Her name is Christy, and I Tri-Cities or Prosser's where I graduated. So, and my family wound up settling in the Tri-Cities. So Grande was a middle spot for us. So we basically started out in Ontario, went to the Tri-Cities. I worked in Tri-Cities. I worked in Morrow County. Eastern Oregon has been my home, Eastern Washington as well. And now I'm here.
That's very cool. So I guess I'm interested in, so when was it that you like raised your hand and became a citizen? What year was that? And what was that like? I mean, how did you feel about that?
It was wonderful. It's a long story too. So back, you got to flash forward these kinds of things because they go in 10-year increments. When I knew I could become a citizen, it was 10 years after you were first naturalized. And so you become a resident alien, and that's a 10-year period. At age 22, I was authorized to be able to apply to become a citizen. I submitted all my paperwork. I did all the things I was supposed to do. And at age 22, they couldn't read my fingerprints, basically. So it was basically denied or on hold. Of course, they'd still be a resident alien, but you couldn't follow through with becoming a citizen. And just so you know, it's like it was at that time, it was a $400 or a $500 application process. So then I just decided to hold off a little bit longer, not apply again until my 10 years came up. And then at age 32, I applied again, put in the money again. And of course, at that time, the fingerprints were fine. Everything was fine. And at age 32, it could be 31, but around age 32, I became a citizen.
So what your fingerprints? I mean, just explain I don't know what that.
Well, they take you get all your fingerprints done. And then if they have smudges on them, or if they have other things that take place that make it hard to read, they basically make you start over again.
Wow. Just because of a technicality.
Just because of a technicality.
Wow.
So it wasn't, I will say it was not the easiest process in the world, but it was great. It was fine. I imagine a first generation immigrant and how they feel about a country, or how they feel about being thankful or giving back or being driven because of where they started out and where they're at. So it did kind of set a tone for me as a human.
Well, and I think it's fascinating. I mean, it's astounding that, you were born in Mexico, went through this process, and now you not only did you get an education and became a teacher, but now you're the school superintendent. I mean, talk a little bit about once you became a teacher, it's like, okay, I want to keep going. How did that? I mean, it's awesome.
I was actually talking to my daughter yesterday. We were having a conversation about maturity, and I was telling her like the 21-year-old version of me was never thought I would be what I am right now. I was just talking about how men in general, or at least boys, don't become as mature as they should be until really they're 23, 24, 25. They're just, that was at least the story I was giving her from a perspective of of life. And so the part was I knew I wanted to be a teacher because teachers invested heavily in me. I knew I wanted to be a coach because those are the people that most influenced me. So I knew early on that I was going to be a teacher and a coach. I thought I would probably be a teacher and a coach for at least 10 years. And so after 3 years, though, I had administrators, I had the superintendent of Ontario School District at that time telling me, like, George, you should really think about becoming an administrator. You're really, you're really great with kids. You're really good with people. You're really organized. You're somebody that works really hard. All those kinds of like good quality or characteristics type things they were giving me and saying, like, you're going to be a great future administrator and you should get ready. And so based on 3 or 4 different types of interactions and conversations where people were, again, pushing me or mentoring me and telling me I should do more, by my 4th year of teaching, I went ahead and started to take courses to be an administrator. And I was thinking I would take 2 or 3 years to do that because I was doing it in evening classes and in the summer. And then by the end of my 4th year, a middle school vice principal job opened up in Ontario, and basically I was asked to apply for that job by the administration at the time, and then I just went ahead and did it, and I got the job. And from right there, it fast tracked me into administration, and I would have never thought that I was going to be in administration until at least 10 years after I was teaching and coaching. And then after 4 or 5 years, mind you, again, I grew up in the Yakima Valley. I wanted to go back to live close to my brother Renee, who is my best friend, who's the guy that I'm closest with in my life, and he lives in Pasco, Washington. So I felt like, okay, I'm ready to become closer to him and my family because I was really in Ontario with my wife's family. And so I made the decision to apply for a job, and I became principal in Pasco, Washington. And there we relocated, and we actually lived in Tri-Cities for about 14, 15 years. After working as a principal in Pasco, Washington for 5 years, I started to think about, really, do I want to have retirement in Oregon? Do I want to have retirement in Washington? Where do I see my career going? And then I took the job in Morrow County. I wanted to have my retirement basically in Oregon because it'd be a long story, but Oregon's retirement is better. And I'm back to planner or thinker. I plan and I think about now. I think about 5 years. I think about 10 years. I think about the future. And so I was organizing my life to make sure that I got myself ready for an Oregon retirement versus a Washington. And I was in tier 2 in Oregon, by the way, and I'm in tier 3 in Washington at that time. And I'll just say it real quick. In Oregon, it's 50% of your highest 3-year average, and in Washington, it's 30% of your highest 5-year average for tier 3. So if you do the math pretty quick, you would know that your retirement's far better in Oregon, especially at the time that I was in my life. And so went to Morrow County. I was the vice principal of Riverside Junior Senior High. The goal was for me to become the principal of that the next year. I was in the final year of Dirk Dirkson's final year, and he was going to retire, and I was going to be the incoming high school principal there. And just like that, within the middle of the year, the assistant superintendent decided to retire. It was new. It was like a surprise. And then the superintendent decided to retire. So right then, I wound up telling Dirk, why don't you apply to become the superintendent, and I'll apply to become the assistant superintendent. And that made a lot of sense to me. I was ready to do more. I was thinking I'd be the high school principal, but it was appealing to become the assistant superintendent. I would have never thought that that's what I thought was going to happen to me that fast. It wasn't. It just kind of was. When a moment happens or when things happen, you make decisions. Am I going to go after it? Am I not? And I just decided to, let's go. And so I I became the assistant superintendent. I was assistant superintendent of Morrow County for 6 school years. So 1 year as a vice principal, 6 as the assistant superintendent. And again, after a while, you start to get known in the state, known in the region. You start to get recruited for lots of jobs to become a superintendent or other executive level positions in schools. And I would get recruited for a variety of jobs in Portland and Salem, in Eugene, in Milton Freewater, in our area, in Eastern Washington as well. And I didn't want those jobs. I just didn't feel like it was ready to move my family. I was ready to do these things. And then when the LeGrand job came up, it was the job that very much most aligned to my heart, my passion, my interest. I felt like LeGrand gave me like the foundation, or Eastern Oregon University gave me the foundation to be the person that I am today. Back to like an immigrant story, first generation college student as well. There was a lot of coaches. There was a lot of educators or professors. There was the dean of education who just like poured into me, and they did so much to help me like be the man that I am. And so giving back to LeGrand after being 6 years an assistant superintendent drew me more than any job I've ever wanted in my life, because I felt like I was ready to give back to a community that took care of me when I was young. And so there's a lot of like passion and purpose that I have behind this job to give everything that I can give to try to make LeGrand better, whether it's facilities, whether it's sports, whether it's academics, whether it's taking care of our family, taking care of our students, taking care of our staff. I've never had a job so purpose and passion aligned to me. So it's very easy for me to try to do everything I can to take care of this community.
And you do, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If he's done basically telling his story, I'm ready to give him a little bit of love. A lot of people don't know that George Mendoza is 4th all time at EOU in a single season for receiving yards, and that's ahead of guys like Jace Billingsley, Justin Hernandez. I mean, we've had some stud receivers at EOU. And then the other thing, 5th all time in touchdowns in a season. Was Rich Davis the quarterback your senior year?
Richie Davis was. There was a variety of quarterbacks, but Richie Davis was the starting quarterback for most of the season.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that. I mean, almost 1,000 yards is in 95. That's a huge college season, especially at NAIA level, where EOU was more known for keeping the ball on the ground than throwing the ball at the time.
Yeah, you kind of run, pass if you had to.
That was my sophomore year in high school. I actually remember EOU during that time. Shea Little, ooh, dude was a beast. So that, I guess that'll just roll me into my. I found a comment on Facebook because and there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of trash talking and a lot of other stuff regarding the whole GOL thing. I'm sure you've heard it from Goodman. So I'm going to read this to you, and then I want to hear what your response is to it. The comment on Facebook says, so OSAA made a special district for football so Eastern Oregon teams wouldn't have to travel so far. But Burns backs out because their seniors of the party get kicked off the team, so they're only doing a JV schedule with the rest of the varsity kids kicking the crap out of other JV teams. Man, that's honorable. The league decided not to play over spring break, but now Baker's playing Ontario over spring break. Baker backed out of the LeGrand game. Baker AD, you are a turd on a good day. And Mac High, what is your deal? Kick the crap out of 2A schools. OSAA, you're garbage. Brad Garrett, get your stuff together. So LeGrand only gets a 3-game season, ? What do you think about that, Mendoza?
I would just say it's going to sound bad, but I'm always about LeGrand, and I want things to go well for LeGrand. So I'm kind of in that. And I'm going to say this too. This would be another thing. I think about everything in our school district, and I do try to delegate and give responsibilities, of course, because there's 2,300 students, there's 330 employees, and I cannot oversee it all. And so, believe it or not, that's the first time I've ever heard that comment or understood that. I didn't know. I thought we had 4 or 5 games. So for me to hear that we only have 3 games bothers me already. And so
the home game got canceled.
My first thoughts are like, Darren needs to reschedule. He needs to find another game as quickly as possible. He needs to start looking around the state and see who can play and when they can play.
He probably already is, George.
I'm sure he is. But that's my first thoughts. And then it's like, we don't get to control what everybody else does. We get to control what we do. And I focus my energy and time quite a bit on like, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to fix it? Or what are we going to do to make sure our student athletes get that next game? And I don't like, of course, that Burns loses all of its seniors or loses their players, and then they have to play JV and they're trouncing on everyone. Basically, I just feel like, okay, what will happen is the athletic directors will deal with that. They'll talk about that. They'll get into how to, make sure that doesn't happen again. And then with all these other teams that are doing whatever they're doing, it's a misalignment of systems, or it's a misalignment of competitive advantages that are going on, and that our athletic directors need to have conversations. If that's true, I'm really big on like, let's get to the data, let's get to the facts, and then what are the strategies or the solutions that we can incorporate and go. So those are my initial thoughts right there.
Nice. Well, a lot of people, there's a lot of talk, like LeGrand's pretty big for a 3 or for a, what are we, 4A?
4A.
For a 4A school. But the problem is we couldn't even go up because there's nobody to play over here that's 5A. It would be pointless. And you make a good point there. Like, one of my things is at least we're playing football. At least we're getting some games. And then the other thing is when I made that decision in my life to stop worrying about what, other people are doing and only control what I do, my life got a lot easier, man. I'll tell you that.
Well, I've been there for a while. I make a lot of decisions every day, and I do the best that I can to look at the facts, to look at the data, to look at, what is the true situational context or environment that we're in, and how can I apply resources to solve that problem based on now and based on the future. And I can't worry about, all kinds of different perspectives and all kinds of different points of view. I just can only worry about what I have in front of me and what's the best way to solve it, while treating people with humanity, dignity, compassion.
Right.
So,
well, and I want to ask you about that before we go on, though. And I don't want to get hung up on this, but I think are you still on the OSAA board? You were for a bit.
I'm on the 4A committee, so I'm not on their board. I'm on the 4A executive group, but it's really I'll just say it, regional superintendents and then regional athletic directors, and they bring topics, and then they say, what are your opinions on these topics? And then you share your perspective, and then you vote on a new rule.
Okay.
I would not have want to been on the OSAA board over the last year. Woo. No way.
So yeah, let me go back to, so George, whenever I talk to you and whenever I hear you talk, you often will relate to the individual student. I mean, and it's really clear that in your mind, I mean, you got a lot going on out there in what you do, but I'm always amazed at how you're still connecting with the individual student and their experience and their success and the way that the staff helps them with their success and stuff. I don't know, talk about a little bit about how do you do that? How do you keep connected to that? And, what part of, is that a driving force in what it is that you do?
Well, this is a great question. And I don't know why I'm feeling a little emotional when you're saying things, but it's
all right.
I would just say that from the beginning of my career, I knew that I wanted to be with kids. I knew that I wanted to help students. I knew that I wanted to influence children and their development, and not just the academic side, but the athletic side or the mental or the well-rounded side. Those are all things of like that were of high interest to me and still are of high interest to me. When I started out my career as an administrator, I had, for my own mantra is like, I'm here for kids in support of staff, here for kids. And so I've always known that my existence in schools is about children, is about their success. It's about making sure that they have a high quality educational experience. It's about making sure that they feel safe, that they feel valued, that they feel connected, that they feel understood, that we ensure that we give them opportunities to grow, not just academically, but also in clubs or sports or activities. And that at the end, when they're graduating, like they're graduating understanding themselves and understanding what they're looking for in the future, and that they're going towards that. So making sure that they're a good citizen, that they're self-aware, and that they care about one another. So I don't know. I mean, I would say I knew at young ages that that's how I wanted to be. And it's as I've grown that I can now put more words to it, that I can more clearly articulate exactly what I'm trying to do and why I'm trying to do it. But it just comes from that. And if you are, you know, a parent, your work with your child matters. Like, you should feel like you have 51% of the say on how things are going on with your child. And schools need to try to deliver and be good partners and collaborators with parents. We have to also follow our rules and follow our policies and follow our guidelines. Like, rules have systems, and you have to follow systems, but we have to, you know, collaborate, cooperate, partner as best we can with parents. And if they're making reasonable requests, I'm pretty big on, like, let's try to give it to them. Let's try to support them. Let's try to do what we can to honor their needs and honor the needs of the student. Our staff members are like, they're the key to making things happen. Like the other day, it's Classified Appreciation Week. Nothing in our schools happen without our classified staff. They make sure that our phones are answered. They make sure that the lights are on. They make sure that things are clean. They make sure that we're fed. They make sure that we have transportation. They make sure that anything that is done in an office setting gets done. Like, they make sure that they work with small groups. They work with individuals. They make sure that they monitor students, you know, supervision in all kinds of areas. Like, nothing would not happen well in schools without them. And our teachers, like, they're the number one influencers of a child's life in the time that they have them, as well as our coaches. Like, they impact the trajectory of a child's life so significantly that they're the ones that help to determine their success with graduation and moving on from high school. So I truly believe, like, everything that we do is very interconnected. It matters a great deal. And if we do everything well, or if we do our best, like, we wind up having this experience where children leave whole, or leave intact, or leave complete, or leave ready to be successful. And that's the goal. That's always been the goal for me, that, like, we're this team, we're trying to win a championship in everything, and we're trying to take care of everybody. And when we leave this little bubble called the Grande School District, we come out feeling like people really cared deeply about us and helped us to be, or reach our full potential as a human, and also do well in school.
So let me follow up real quick. So are there any times when you're doing this that you see a kid and it reminds you of you? I mean, is that part of the thing? I know that's it's like, oh man, he's going to ask me that question. I mean, yeah.
No, just because I'm usually like the most flawed guy in the room, is how I view myself. I grew up high poverty. I grew up speaking Spanish first. I grew up being feisty. I still am feisty, you know, stubborn. I grew up not being nice sometimes. I did bad things. I hurt people. Like, I'm a knucklehead. I'm a far better person or human than I was when I was 12 years old and 15 years old. But so I have a lot of empathy and a lot of, like, lived life experiences that resonate with me about people that make mistakes or do wrong things. And I'm very much always in support of children learning, growing, getting better. And if you made a mistake, just fix it. That's my first thought almost all the time. Just fix it. Don't repeat it. And if I'm kind of a coach, right? So I've coached sports quite a bit, and I have a background in helping people quite a bit. And I just like, let's not make any excuses. Let's not make any explanations. Let's just fix it and get better. And of course, there's a story. There's always a story, and I'll listen to the story, and I'm very understanding about it too. But in the end, it's like, okay, if this helps you to become better, then let this thing happen so that you became better, and then let's not repeat that mistake. And I come with that approach often. I want kids in school because the best thing that they can do is be in school. And so we need to make sure that we have systems in place where we, accept, acknowledge, understand what took place, improve it, and then give them another opportunity, and then love them, support them, take care of them.
Yeah. One of the things that I like about you is that, so when I was in high, I went to LeGrand. I came up through the school district, 7th grade on. And when I was in school, nobody even knew who the superintendent was. I couldn't tell you, honestly. No idea. Don't know what the guy looked like. Don't know what his name was or her. And now you're at all the games. I see you everywhere. And I think that that's really important, especially in a small community, to know that you're on the same team. Like the parents, the kids, they know that you're on the same team as them because you're out there in the trenches. Like you aren't holed up in an office, running everything from a little, I want to say like it's like that mad doctor that sits behind. It's kind of the feeling that I got back in the days because nobody even knew who the superintendent was.
There's probably a lot of people that don't really know who I am, but I appreciate what you're saying.
But
Alex.
people in the school district, parents, kids, they know who you are. They've seen you.
Well, my son, Christian, I'm a big supporter of Christian. I'm a big supporter of sports. I love sports. Sports gave me the life that I have. So I'm one of those I want to be there. I want to see it. I love competition. I love seeing our kids do well. And when they don't do as well as they can sometimes, that's okay too, because that's part of living and growing and getting better. And so I love watching people work with other kids. I like watching adults. I like watching parents support their kids. Like almost the whole experience for me a lot of times is like just fulfilling thing. And it's like my favorite thing to do is to not be in my office and to be with people and to watch human experiences take place and to see our children or see our school be successful. And so, so it's right up my alley to love sports and then to love activities. And then I love people. I like being around people. I like making things happen with people. And so that's my personality.
The other thing about old Mendoza is his wardrobe is on point always. he dude's a well-dressed, man. He got the sport coat on top of the polo, like always. Look at that. Decked out always. He knows it. Yes, sir.
Cal, I think we got to get you some more stuff, Doddsy, on LeGrand clothing. I like that hat a lot.
This hat's sweet, huh? Clell gave me this.
Yeah.
This is a wrestling hat. It's the wrong colors, though.
That's what, to me, it's like it's just different. And
I got all kinds of cool stuff, man. Goodman hooks me up. I got that picture from the state championship. I got a state championship scarf. A lot of the seniors hooked me up with their senior pictures from last year. It's pretty cool, man.
I love it.
So, hey, before we go, tell us a story. I don't know, a story from your youth, or a story. I don't know. Tell us something that's like
BC's trying to get you to incriminate yourself.
Tell us something that it was. I don't know. You gotta one of those stories that you would tell your kids, like, well, when I did this, and I don't know, and it turned out good, or I don't know. It can. I don't know. Just tell us one more story before we go.
You know what? Just it's resonating with me for you to know back to how I view people and my own flaws. Like, so again, my mother moved back to Mexico when I was in 5th grade, 6th grade. My parents got divorced when I was in 4th grade. And so I grew up basically with my father, and my father married a beautiful lady, white. She's white. Her name is Debbie. And Debbie helped to raise me after my mother left. And then my dad also then divorced Debbie, and then he got into another relationship. And so I grew up with my father in and out of different relationships, and just kind of grew up on my own quite a bit, feeling sometimes neglected or abandoned because of the relationships that my father had with us and that he had with women. And I can honestly tell you, I'm crazy about my dad. I love my dad very much, and he grew up the way he grew up, and he did his best as a father. But those are the feelings I had. And so I didn't really get, from my perspective, enough of an influence on what is right, what is wrong. And back to, I would get in trouble in school. I got suspended for fighting. I was hacked back then when I was young, and they allowed corporal punishment. I was a kid that had teachers get upset with them. I still remember there was a time when I was talking, and it was like 5th grade, and the teacher kept telling me not to talk. And it was at a time when they used chalkboards, and they were cleaning the chalkboard. And I was, saying another thing to another kid, just kind of not listening. And then I just remember being whacked with a chalk, an eraser, and then I'd look down, and then here's the eraser going down, and then here's this white chalk through here. And I felt like I'm a jerk, but I also felt like, why'd you hit me? Why'd you do that to me? And I knew I was screwing up. And so I made so many mistakes. I got caught shoplifting when I was a kid because nobody was looking after me. And then I got in trouble with the juvenile justice, and then I got to do work that way, and I had to do community service. And then I got connected to a church where I did the community service, and that church influenced me and took care of me. And it's just all these things that it took, like, a lot of people helping me for me to be who I am now. And so I remember that all the time when I'm working with children and I'm working with people, like it's okay that they make mistakes, or it's okay that we screw up. It's what we want to do is fix it, get better, learn, grow. And again, these are the stories that make me who I am. So it's important for you to just, I guess, hear that.
That's tremendous. Well, yeah. And I think it puts this exclamation mark on how the difference that people can make in a life. Coaches, teachers, youth pastors. I mean, all of those, or even other adults, parents might have kids that are in school, and their kid is hanging around with someone else who it's clear that they need just more parental influence. They need to be taken in and loved, and so we just all have this, this in this circle, and especially in a community like Grande, where everybody knows everyone. Adults just kind of need to be on the lookout for kids that need to be adopted and swept in and invited in and loved on. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I can relate to George on a lot of ways too. Like, I mean, I wasn't like a troublemaker, but I come from rough background, man. I was in Southern California till I was 11. My mom was a heroin addict. I can relate to a lot of things, but that also makes me aware today that we have to be vigilant about the way we act, because kids are constantly watching us, and it doesn't even matter if they're your kids or not, or if you're in a position of power or not. Kids pay attention, and the reality of it is we have a responsibility to them to take the high road and to show especially nowadays when everybody's so busy, everybody's constantly going this way, that way, a lot of broken homes, a lot of both parents work, and not a lot of home, like family dinners aren't happening anymore. And so we have a responsibility as adults in this community, especially in a small community, to be vigilant and to set that example and raise the bar for these kids.
Yeah. And I when I was raising my kids, family dinners were a thing. I mean, I insisted that they be in. But what happened because of that is that I would just make a lot of food. When I was cooking, I'd make a big pot of spaghetti, and they would invite their friends, and that became, that table, our house became a connecting point, not only for my own kids, but for kids that just, they needed someplace to go, and that is not a difficult thing for people to create. I mean, it just takes a little bit more effort, a little bit more food. Kids want a place to connect. They want
sure.
adults that will show interest in them and love on them. And so good. Well, hey, we're just kind of, now we're talking and not George anymore. So.
No, but he gave, man, what a great story.
We're all being vulnerable here. We're all sharing. It's good.
Yeah.
Great story, man.
Well, thanks so much. And we'd like to have you come back sometime, and maybe we'll drill down, talk about athletics, or talk about some of the things that are going on. You've been in the whole school district has had a really challenging year last year. You're trying to figure out how to get through graduation this year. And I know you guys are inundated with stuff, but we'll have you on and talk about some of that other stuff some other time.
Yeah, we're lucky to have you in this community.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And just for the listeners and people that are going to watch this in the future, understand how challenging this year was for you personally.
Oh man.
And then take that and put a whole school district on your back as well. And that's what this guy's done.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'll tell you what though, guys, we got a great community. We have great families. We have great staff. We have wonderful students. We're pretty lucky to have each other.
Absolutely.
And that's usually how it feels. This community has a lot of pride, has a lot of people that want good things for one another. And you can feel that, especially in tough times. And I feel that all the time. When I ask folks to do more, when I ask folks to come in, when I ask folks to work with students, whether online or on site, our staff has just risen to the occasion. We have a great school board. We have great families. To me, we're lucky to have what we have in LeGrande. A lot of people working together in support of LeGrande. And that's the major reason why I think we've been pretty successful. And if you didn't know, I'm going to say these kinds of things. We've had a top 5 athletic program for the last 5 years. We have had a top 5 academic program too, as it relates to graduation rates and achievement. We've also
awesome.
This is compared to 4A districts in the state. We've had a top 5 choir and music program. We're a top 5 school district. We're pretty lucky to have what we have in LeGrande.
That's one of the biggest reason why I moved back and why I love this town, man. I really do. It's got, this town has my heart.
Yep. I agree. And I agree, George, that you have a great staff. I mean,
Absolutely.
Clearly you are the leader for the time here in LeGrande, and I appreciate that. But I know the staff, I know the people, and they were just a district wanting good leadership, and you just, I can't say enough good. I mean, sure, there's people out there that need to be adjusted here and there, and people with bad attitudes, but you have a great team.
Got a good thing going.
Yep. So
let's keep it up.
Appreciate you. Yeah,
Alrighty.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks, George.
Thanks, George.
Take care.
All right, BC, let me get into my stuff real fast.
All
so
right,
we can
man.
Get out of here. On this day in 1802, so March 16, 1802, West Point Military Academy was established in New York. In 1915, the Federal Trade Commission began operation. In 1994, this is a good one, Tanya Harding pled guilty in Portland to conspiracy to hinder prosecution for covering up the attack on her skating rival Nancy Kerrigan. All she got out of it was a $100,000 fine and banned from amateur figure skating. So basically, she put a hit on a woman. The woman got clubbed in the knee, and all Tanya Harding got was a $100,000 fine and couldn't skate anymore. So Something new real quick, holidays that fall on March 16th. So, those daily holidays that everybody's about now. Today's Freedom of Information Day, which is on or near March 16th, which is the birthday of James Madison. Today's Lips Appreciation Day. Today's National Artichoke Hearts Day. Today is National Everything You Do Is Right Day, or Everything Kyle Does Is Right Day, either or. Today's No Selfies Day. So you hear that. Dana, no selfies today. Stay off the selfie stick. And then today's also World Social Work Day. The number one song in America 30 years ago today was still Someday by Mariah Carey. And then my quote for the day, and then we're going to get out of here, is make each day your masterpiece. Make each day your masterpiece. And that comes from the one of the greatest coaches of all time, UCLA's John Wooden.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
So I gotta tell you that, and I'm not seeing Dana's selfies, but
no, I don't think he really takes selfies.
No, but guys that take selfies,
yeah,
I'm sorry, that's weird. I mean, what happens? I mean, you're in a car, you're in the car, and you look in the mirror and you go like, "Oh wow, I look good." I
do it all the time.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that's weird. Okay, I mean,
I don't even. The only time I ever take selfies is when I have one of my kids,
right,
or a niece.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a different kind of a selfie. It's like, look who I'm with, not look at me. I look cool. Yeah.
Or the pose that I put on Benny's computer. I'm going to take a selfie.
Yeah. That's dopey.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I'm just telling you, if you are a young man and you take selfies, grow out of that, please.
Yeah, quick.
That's weird. Yeah.
All right.
Save yourself from the embarrassment of 15 years from now. You look back and go, "Oh wow, I was an idiot then."
Yeah. Who do we got for Thursday? Oh, I'm in. Yeah.
You're in charge of Thursday.
It's a surprise guest.
Yeah. All right.
Suspense is there.
Yeah. Hey, Eastern Oregon. Thanks for tuning in. Again, just to remind you, all of our stuff is on Spotify, along with all of the other stuff that we've been doing.
Yeah,
now you can also listen. Now you can also listen to the stuff on Spotify, and also there is on our website there is a live audio link to listen to our live stuff. If you want to just click on that, then you can listen to the audio version rather than have to stare at the screen. So
follow us on Instagram at EO Live TV, Twitter at EO Live TV. You can follow me on Instagram at Doddsy Podsy. My show's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Oregon Live Sports. This show's 8 o'clock Tuesdays and Thursday morning live. We have News Roundup that comes out on Friday nights, and we also have Gabe the Weather Boy that comes out on Friday nights as well.
Yep. And today at 1:30, there will be a live CHD update. So
bam.
Thanks so much. See you later.